Welcome to my opinion for the top 5 best quests in Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. They're not ordered in any particular order, so let's get started. Number 5 is going to be the Ghost Haunts at Midnight. This shows that even though you're a vampire and a mortal, you're not immune to fear.
So I want you to go to the Ocean House Hotel, find an item of the spirits, and bring it back.
At first the quest seems simple. Simply get an item so that Therese can exercise the property and you can leave. However, upon entering, you notice that things here did not end well for the family that stayed at this hotel. The door to the hotel itself is locked, so you go into a side building to try and find it. When after picking up the key, you're locked inside for a brief moment while you hear the machinery outside turning itself on. The second you enter the house, the chandelier starts to shake. You start to hear voices. You start to see things out of the corner of your eye. This quest sets a great environment and an amazing atmosphere, especially this early in the game. You begin finding newspapers scattered around the hotel, hinting as to what happened. However, when you try to explore more of the hotel, you fall through the staircase to the second floor and into the basement. Once you read the newspaper about the severed head of a child in a washing machine, you can hear a rattling. After the door suddenly creaks open by itself, you walk down the hall and approach the washing machine. It opens by itself, but whenever you approach it and open it, there's a key. Whenever you enter the boiler room, you can once again see the axe murderer. However, yet again, whenever you turn the corner, he vanishes. Once you turn on the power in the boiler room, you have to quickly run out before the steam kills you. Then you can ride the elevator back up to the top with a little laugh from the killer. After leaving the elevator, you can see the ghostly image of a woman pointing to a newspaper speaking of another child being chopped up like firewood. Upon entering the room of the child, you can find a drawing of his family, showing the father enraged and in flames. Upon entering the parents' room, all the lights are cut. Everything immediately begins shaking and starts flinging itself at you. The walls say "get out," and inside of the dresser you can find the key to an upstairs room. As you leave the parents' room, the child's toy slowly drifts out of the room, and once again, the woman helps you find where to go. You take a dumbwaiter down to the kitchen, and once inside, you hear the woman's voice once again, and find a diary that belonged to her. It gives details to what happened. Ed, the wife, and their 2 children decided to stay at this hotel. The wife's mother had bought her a pendant. Ed believed it was from another lover, and wouldn't leave the room for days, until eventually he snapped, killing both kids, and then finishing off the wife before presumably burning down the hotel. After you read that diary, this ghost goes absolutely crazy. Everything in the kitchen starts flying around, the heat turns on, and eventually a door is busted down and you can go through a vent to escape. The amazing thing about the Ocean House Hotel is that you're on your toes the entire time, but there's no actual enemies in the entire thing. Climbing up some rubble to get to the top floor, you can see fires from the past. Finally, after working your way all the way through this hotel, you enter the final room where the pendant is held and you see a glimpse of what was. Number 4 is going to be Carnival of Death. The first thing you notice upon leaving your starting apartment is that there's a newspaper talking about a murder on the pier. While you head there, you can hear a conversation hinting to another quest in the same list. Take a listen.
It's the second worst thing I've ever seen.
Poor bastard down there's torn in two. By the looks of it, you'd think someone tied him to two horses and raced them in opposite directions. What could you have possibly seen that was worse than what's down there?
It was about 3 years ago up in Malibu. Found this guy on the beach. Looked like, I don't know, animal attack.
Shark bite?
Nah, I've seen shark bites. This was something different. Like whatever killed him knew what it was doing. The head was missing, the hands were missing. And there were these huge slashes, but...
Bullshit.
No. Guy was literally slashed to ribbons. The worst part was I was waiting for the meat wagon. I felt like someone was watching me. I swear on my badge today there was something just out of sight. For a split second, I wanted to get the squad car and get the hell out of that place. To this day, it makes me wonder what's really out there.
Maybe it was a werewolf. Woo!
All right.
Or a vampire.
Forget it. See, this is why you didn't get invited to Hernandez's wedding, Ted.
Just a few feet from where that conversation was held, you go down to the pier and are granted by the sight of a wolf. Once you see the wrangled body on the pier yourself, then you can proceed in the quest. If you head to the diner, you can hear a very suspicious conversation on the
I
phone.
hope you realize that we're still on for tonight. Meet me at the agreed upon location across from the bar by the underpass. Bring your associate, Mr. Durbin, as it is a two-man job that I am proposing. With any luck, the two of you are already on your way, and I shall see you soon. Goodbye. Something I can help you with. I don't see how that's any business of yours. Goodbye, then.
After this interaction, you can go to the Kilpatrick bail bonds to proceed in the quest. You get a quest searching for a guy named Muddy, who's been raised up on manslaughter charges a couple of years ago. When you visit the house, you find a key and a plant, and a voicemail.
Hey, Mayor, it's Mike. Look, I gotta head downtown for a few days, maybe longer. If Reno calls, tell him to meet me down there. We got something to discuss, apparently. I'll be at Milton's place in the Skyline Lofts 2A. Sorry, baby. I'll explain everything later.
The voicemail that you find in his home is the same voicemail that you heard the man leaving in the Surfside Diner, so I'm not going to play it again. So of course you head to the place in the voicemail, only to be greeted by this sight.
Did you see it? These two guys, the dead guy and the other, they showed up. I've been living here, so I hid. I thought maybe they was owners or cops come to clean the place out. The dead feller called him Muddy. They was waiting on someone. They were going to do some kind of job, they were saying. But the person they was meeting, well, he was late. So the one guy leaves to find the phone and call him, and the dead guy stayed. Oh, that's when the killer, that's when he showed up. 1 second he wasn't there, and then he was. Like out of the shadows he come up. Scared the shit out of the dead guy. I'd like to scream, but I couldn't breathe. Oh, that killer, he grew these claws. I swear it, I saw it. The dead guy went white like he seen the devil, and then the killer grabbed him round the neck and lifted him up and started cursing at the guy. Oh, I couldn't hear too good. Something about revenge for what he did or what they did. The killer made sure the dead guy knew who he was and then ripped him open. Just tore him apart. He did it real slow, made the guy scream. Okay, I will. I don't want to never think about that again.
You find a key card to the Lucky Star Motel and then play some basketball. After finally arriving at the Lucky Star Motel, we head inside and first lockpick an 8 difficulty lockpick to get yet again another hint towards one of the quests in this list. And finally we enter the room we're supposed to enter with quite the cutscene.
Oh my god! My work is done.
Inside the room, you find a keycard to the Brothers Salvage in Santa Monica. And once you arrive in Santa Monica, it's relatively easy to find with a big sign. However, when you go inside, there's a man who disappears. You have a pretty intense chase scene with the killer throughout the yard, and he throws cars at you the whole time.
No! Back off, vampire! Stay the fuck back! I did nothing to you!
Tell me why you did it.
What the hell do you care? I don't give a damn if you understand.
All the same, I'd love to hear your explanation.
Why? So you can pass judgment on me? So you can decide if those murderers deserve to be gutted? You'll never know how it feels, never!
Try. Make me understand.
My family, my children were butchered by small-time criminals just looking to rob a house, steal a car, take whatever. No sense to any of it. No plan, no ransom. Just kill them because why? Because they were there, in the way?
There's probably nothing you could have done.
Not one of them paid. My whole family dead, my life gone. I'm supposed to let that happen?
I understand.
I tracked them down, hunted them, one by one, caught them all. The one you saw in Hollywood, he was the last of them.
And so your revenge is complete.
Revenge, justice, whatever you want to call it. All I thought about is taking these evil animals, ripping them to shreds and licking their blood from my claws.
You gave in to the beast inside you.
At least I put it to use. How many vampires have used their abilities for a just cause? At least I did something.
You better practice more control or you'll end up answering to the sheriff.
I can't turn my back on the evil in this world.
This is your last chance.
I won't answer to anyone and you'll never take me alive, vampire. No one will take from me again. No one! Either we go our separate ways here or one of us dies.
Just remember, you made me do this. Afterwards, you find out he's a gangrel, the type of vampire that can transform into wolf-like creatures. I'm not gonna lie, we put up quite the fight. You can also persuade him to go on a separate way and let him go, though you will get a Masquerade violation if you do. And after a fight that was far too close, he finally goes down. Number 3 is going to be calling Dr. Grout. LaCroix wants you to make contact with Alistair Grout because he hasn't been picking up his phone. But when you arrive to his house, Nines Rodriguez from the Anarchs is already there.
You. What are you doing here? Out now. You should get out of here. This place is bad news. Pardon me.
Taking a look at the outside, you can see the absolute enormous mansion that this actually is, and wonder how he lives in this. The music also sets a very nice tone. However, when you head inside, the tone drastically changes. The mansion is riddled with people who suffer from, for lack of a better word, insanity. You come across many tape recorders that I'm going to try and edit down because Dr. Alistair Grout is quite the talker.
After
listening to the philosophical nonsense, you can go into a room to find an insane patient flicking a candle hysterically. After killing him, you find a riddle, and then, after solving the puzzle, a door in the other part of the house is opened, where you find yet again another tape recorder.
Often I reflect with great regret on the missed opportunity that was my infector. Had I been conscious after the attack, I could have stopped the orderlies from locking her in the roaming pen. What I would give for just one interview, a few simple questions of the plague-ridden woman who met her end that dawn. Of course, there is no guarantee she would have been any more helpful than my current crop of test subjects, mewling wretches. Few could be called enthusiastic. The one called John went so far as to gnaw off his arm and escape into the floorboards like some feral rodent. I still hear him scurrying about at night. He must be making an atrocious mess.
Literally 2 feet away is another one.
My studies proceed at a languid pace. I'm mired in a foul ennui as my wife's illness advances. How many nights I've wasted now, gazing from the tower walk, pondering the frailty of existence.
You can see the view from his night walk that he was talking about, and it is quite nice. You can hear the psyche of Alistair Grout begin to dwindle through his tape recordings.
Into this affliction, I have learned that it is by no means mine alone. Indeed, the city is home to an entire society of similarly afflicted individuals with whom I've only recently made contact. Condition is indeed vampirism, which apparently comes in a multitude of strains, each with a spectacular set of symptoms such as invisibility and even a sort of lycanthropy. I have concluded that their fundamental understanding of the vampiric condition is woefully lacking and mired in suspicion and pseudo-religious dogma. Apparently, the typical sufferer of my particular strain of vampirism is far from the vanguard of the King's English. So impressed were they that they even offered me an office in their government, a rather high office by the sound of things. I believe I shall accept.
You then notice that the people you killed are alive on the other side of the mirror, letting you open the fireplace to continue in the mansion. You come across a book you can only use if you have high enough inspection to skip the riddle, which I decided to just go ahead and upgrade so I could skip it. Inside of the bookshelf is an electrical puzzle where you have to go around and switch levers to a certain stance so that you can get out. After solving it, you can switch another lever to unlock a door in a part of the house that you've been to before, and inside you find another tape recorder.
Frequently, in conversation, I will hear voices emanating from other vampires, voices that are not their own, but which seem to have insight into their lives beyond what I could gather from simple conversation. These voices seem to echo from deep within my fellow vampires, and I cannot be certain if this symptom belongs to my strain of the illness or theirs, for the voices are various and inconsistent. I dare not mention this symptom to my vampiric peers, for they have proven themselves true predators to whom I could be loath to reveal any sign of weakness. Indeed, these voices have counseled me against confessing their presence, and until I can confirm their source, I will listen. The information the voices have given me ranges from curious to frightening. The latter case is especially true of one powerful vampire whose name I shall not commit to recording in the interests of self-preservation. The voices have increased in frequency and direction of late. They have begun to stay with me long after conversation has ceased and are serving as quite a distraction. I fear others are beginning to notice my preoccupation at the vampire gatherings. I am thinking again of the particular vampire of whom I spoke previously, who I dare not name for my growing fear. If the voices are to be believed, then my caution is warranted, for they speak of his blackest crimes, both past and future. More than once I have seen the suspicion in his eyes and heard the distrust in his voice when speaking with me. The fear must register on my face, as it is all I can do in these moments to keep from crying out in chorus with the voices.
Activating a secret door, you can access part of the mansion, and after killing the enemy inside, you notice that the room is upside down. The more you proceed, the more messed up things get, as everything begins turning upside down and the roof or floor is now covered in blood. Heading to our left, we find nothing but an empty room with an inaccessible door. Going through the middle door, we can find the most unique room in probably the whole game, which is the only room that contains sunlight, the only time that you can see it throughout the entire story. And after running through the sunshine and turn a lever, you yet again unlock a door. Alistair Grout made this to make the patients go insane, as there's fake stars, mannequins, clocks that are always ticking, and cut-up paintings. In the upstairs bedroom, we can find morphine and yet again another clock, but when we leave, the mannequins have followed us.
They're coming.
Trying to leave the house, the door is locked, and we hear a phone call.
Wishes and words, proud
Then finally, after leaving the house, we get Dr. Alistair Grout's final tape recording.
I am no longer safe. I know it. The voices have proven themselves authentic, and I have withdrawn from the Vampire Society entirely. My absence will no doubt draw attention, but I could no longer hold my fragile composure around the ravenous eyes of my vampire peers, especially not around him. The voices compelled me to make what I fear is a Faustian bargain, but I had to, for their demands are constant and merciless. I have secluded myself within the mansion. I know he will strike out at me. He will go to any length to achieve his ambitions, and he knows it, I know. I have taken precautions to protect my beloved wife. Her cure will have to wait until our immediate safety is guaranteed. The mansion was constructed with security in mind, but at that time I was not privy to the full range of vampire capabilities. The voices echo in the twisted corridors of my psyche, dark whisperings of a macabre and formless menace, the approach of which portends an end.
After using one of the objects in the room, her coffin, or encasement, will begin to spin around, and after finishing, it will unlock a door. Heading through the door, you enter Alistair Grout's bedroom, but when you get inside, Alistair Grout is already dead, staked to his bed and tied to it, his body turning to a pile of ash. Leaving his room, we find who started the fire. Not only did he start the fire, he's a vampire hunter who's here to kill Grout. He didn't realize that Grout was already dead, so that rules him out and it rules you out. After escaping the burning mansion through a window, you can watch the oversized mansion burn to the ground, with clouds of smoke bellowing above. Going back to inform LaCroix, you're met with this dialogue.
The Primogens still haven't been contacted by Grout. I thought I made it clear that you were not supposed to come back until we had heard from him. Grout's dead. What?
After informing LaCroix that you also saw Nines Rodriguez at the mansion leaving before you could arrive, he informs that he's going to put a blood hunt out on him, meaning anyone who kills him will be paid handsomely, basically ensuring his death. Number 2 is the enemy of my enemy. I'm going to give some context for people who don't know about Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines story, so spoiler warnings, but basically the entire game you're searching for the Ankaran sarcophagus, which is said to hold either an antediluvian, which is a super powerful vampire, or a mummy or something, but nobody really knows. And when you finally come across it, your rivals, the Kuei Jin, or two brothers of the Kuei Jin, are there. The brothers tell you that your leader LaCroix and their leader Ming Zhao have an agreement, and that if you were to try to get the Ankaran sarcophagus from them, it would violate that agreement. But, I mean, you already came all the way out here, so you go ahead and kill them and load the Ankaran sarcophagus on a truck before taking the truck back to LaCroix. Once there, you ask LaCroix about the alliance, though he states that the brothers are just trying to ruse you into starting a civil war amongst your ranks. Then they try to open it.
What have you assessed so far?
Unfortunately for the Heralds of Doom, it appears we won't be opening Pandora's box. The markings, as far as I can tell, are of Assyrian origin. An extraordinary piece, but nothing earth-shattering.
I see. Then there is no good reason why we shouldn't open it. Won't budge. Beckett, do you see any mechanism for the lid?
I haven't as yet had a chance to pore over it with my fine-tooth comb. I think I have one in my bag.
Why won't it open, Beckett? And you, I thought you said it looked as if it had been opened on the Dane. I want it open! You and Beckett, figure out a way to open it. I need to know what's inside. I have other matters to attend to. Come get me when a solution has been found.
And then after completing another quest for LaCroix, you're met outside by the Kuei Jin's leader, Ming Zhao.
You stand amongst friends now. Indeed, the Chang brothers, my greatest agents, undone by the young soldier of LaCroix. It was obvious your path was greater than I or he had anticipated. We did have an arrangement, LaCroix and I. A mutually beneficial pact to drive the lesser factions from the city. LaCroix's zeal in recovering the Ankaran sarcophagus has been to the exclusion of many relationships, mine included. And I, like yourself, have been used by him in his desperate quest for power. LaCroix feared Alistair Grout, the Malkavian Primogen, for the cursed insight of his bloodline was strong and brought him uncomfortably close to the truth about LaCroix's ambitions. LaCroix saw an opportunity to rid himself of two problems, a hardened rebel leader and a problematic Primogen, in one fell stroke. And, as you can see, I was integral to his plan. LaCroix convinced me that an alliance with the Camarilla could strengthen the position of the Kuei Jin, and so with my help, your prince framed Nines Rodriguez for the murder of Alistair Grout. Yes, you were made to be the witness, for your political naivete put your word beyond reproach. No one would believe you devised such a story. LaCroix used you and once again turned a problem to his advantage. Our dealings with LaCroix have put his integrity into question. He has become careless. It is obvious to me that he wishes to obtain it, only so that he might use its power against those who would oppose him. If he betrays his own kind in these pursuits, can I trust him to honor our allegiances? Can you? You need to understand that you are a liability, Kindred. Once LaCroix finds the right moment, you will be disposed of, just as he did with Alistair Grout, Mr. Rodriguez, your sire, and countless others. You are no more to him than an entry on his ledger, a sum of that which can be bled from you. Hear these words, Kindred. The sarcophagus is sealed against the ages. Only the proper key will break this seal. That key now lies safely in Kuei Jin hands. Your prince's prize cannot be had without it.
You found the key. Where? Who has it? This nonsense again! Look, I told you before, no kindred would ever ally themselves with those demons. This is a subterfuge, a trick to start a civil war. And apparently, it's worked. It was a difficult decision to make, but I only did it for the greater good. The Kuei Jin did not question my scheme, but I did it to bring all kindred under Camarilla govern. And I did so only so that we could finally wipe out the Kuei Jin united. Enough! As of this moment, there is no blood hunt against Nines Rodriguez. The Kuei Jin have revealed their plot. They want us to war against each other? Well, to that I propose an alliance with the Anarchs. Together, we kindred shall drive out these foreigners once and for all. Go to the last round immediately. Tell them the Kuei Jin have admitted to killing Grout, and that the blood hunt against Nines Rodriguez is officially over. Tell them I have realized the true threat the Kuei Jin pose, and wish to negotiate a pact.
So of course you start heading down in the last round,
Wait!
But you get stopped.
About the sarcophagus? Don't open it. Whatever you do, do not open the Ankaran sarcophagus. Well, despite what I said, if that sarcophagus is opened, there will be disaster. In what form, I cannot be sure. But after studying the evidence, I'm convinced now that it is better left undisturbed. And anyone who'd pursue any other course is deserving of the consequences.
After heading to the last round, the Anarchs agree to the alliance with LaCroix. You're then told that Nines Rodriguez is at the Griffith Park Observatory. This is also where you get what I think is the most beautiful view in the entire game of the city.
Good to see you again, kid. Heard you made quite a name for yourself. No small feat in this city. I hear LaCroix needs us all of a sudden. Well, I'll be damned. Does he now? You know, we just ended a war with them and we lost a lot of people. Too many. Does he expect us to do all the fighting while the Camarilla throws mean looks from the sidelines? Or are they ready to go toe-to-toe with those goddamn devils? I still don't trust LaCroix. But then again, the Camarilla didn't wholesale slaughter us upon arrival. God damn it. I'm stuck between a rock and a son of a bitch. It seems strange. LaCroix wanting to go to war against them all of a sudden. Something's not right. Not what I mean, kid. Smell that? Smells like smoke. We gotta get out of here. Kid, we've been followed. That fire's coming from all directions. It's man-made. We gotta get out of here. This is bad. No, kid, you don't understand. The fire wasn't set to kill us. Come on, we gotta get to the tram. I didn't hide out here because it was a nice view. I did it because no one would come looking for me in these parts. This is werewolf country. The wolves are gonna be out for blood for that fire. Come on, move! Werewolves don't talk to us. Werewolves don't care. They kill on sight. Now let's move. No, we can't. You don't understand what these things are capable of. Guns are useless, and getting close is suicide. The only thing to do is run. Now let's get to the tram. We can't waste any more time. Shit! It's leaving! Come on, kid. We gotta get inside that building until it comes back.
I'm not gonna lie, this is genuinely one of the most terrifying parts in the entire game. The way that the werewolf breaks through walls and roofs to get to you. So what you're supposed to do is open up this observatory door, but first you have to turn on the electricity. Finally, you can go back inside and open up the door to lure him into it. Or at least try to find him before he stunlocks you to death. Then after luring the werewolf in here, you can finally and easily... Okay, maybe it's not that easy. Still, I always will remember this quest for the terrifying first moments that I had running away from this werewolf until finally realizing how to kill him. And finally, number 1 is going to be Royal Flush. Jack picks you up from the observatory and takes you back to your apartment. He tells you that LaCroix has put out a blood hunt on you, and that all the vampires can be coming in, even from Sacramento, to get at you.
They're saying Nines is dead and you killed him.
So you try to head to the cabbie on the other side of the town, but there are literally vampires around every single corner. Not only just vampires, but vampires like you who share powerful abilities such as transformation, super speed, super strength, etc. After mowing your way through Santa Monica, you're taken to the cabbie and into the very final section of the game. This is the part of the game where you choose your ending. He tells you he can take you anywhere you want to go. I decided to choose the Anarchs for this particular video just to show another fun fact about one of the quests.
Sorry I couldn't clear your name yet, but I knew you'd make it in here in one piece. Hell, you get out of the park alive. Quite a feat, kid. You mean this guy?
Can't say I got out without a scratch. Hell of a brawl, though.
Unfortunately, we don't have time to swap war stories. We were set up, kid. Someone tried to get rid of us, and the list of suspects is short. LaCroix or Zhao.
So after you take out Ming Zhao, then you begin Royal Flush, which is when you infiltrate LaCroix's tower. So after you make it to LaCroix's tower and take out all the guards in the first room, you can then head up the elevator to get to him. Though the elevator stops halfway, and you end up having to fight your way through a lot of guards. I should also add that the music heavily adds to this quest. Also, this is your first introduction to the SWAT officer enemies, which have a lot of health and very powerful weapons. Continuing up the tower, you run into a guard whose mind has been dominated by LaCroix.
I anticipated you'd make it this far. I had no doubts about your capability. But I am not so easily betrayed. Did you ever think about what it takes to live as long as I have? To come this far? Consider that lack of judgment in your last few seconds. Tick, tick, tick. A bientôt, kindred.
You kill the guard and take his explosives. Then you put them on an elevator and send them up, killing a couple of guards so you don't have to fight them. Then you take that same elevator up and continue through the tower. Eventually, you run into the sheriff, LaCroix's henchman, before you engage in the first and only two-phase boss fight in the whole game. His first phase involves him frequently teleporting around. However, when you get to his second phase, it's quite different. During this phase, vampires will constantly attack you as you try and avoid the bat's multiple disorienting blows, one of which I had never seen before that really caught me off guard. After finally finishing the sheriff off, you get his weapon, the best melee weapon in the game, and head up the final elevator to LaCroix.
Like sire, like child. I should have killed you that night. How could someone as low as you injure me? Huh. You think you've taken everything away. But I still have my sarcophagus. You've done all the work for me once again. So much to learn. I thought I had lost it all, but no. Here you've sailed on a Gehenna wind, bearing my salvation. The key to my future.
He attempts to dominate you, but you're too powerful at this point.
Give me the key. I said, give me the key. It can't end like this. Don't you see the Kuei Jin will kill us all? I can't lose. I will open the sarcophagus. I'll build an empire. It won't end here. You fool! You had it in your grasp! You had Los Angeles in your hands, and you threw it all away! That's why you're not a leader, why you'll never be anything but an errand boy! I'll build a new world order. Tell your anarchs, their days are numbered. Now, my sacrifice. Who are you?
Now ain't that a beautiful thing? Hey, mess around, buddy. I'm talking to you. You don't really talk much, do you? Hey, it happened just like you said. They never even knew what hit them. Threw that sarcophagus out there and they just tore each other up trying to get to it. And the kid worked out all right, huh?
Remember, wherever we go, it is the blood of Cain which makes our fate. Farewell, vampire.
Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe for random content uploaded on a random basis. Bye.